All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the SuperCoach Enough channel. In today's video, just going to preview round two. Look at, I guess, some of the trades that people are making, as well as looking in my own trades. So, I don't know what's happened to my team there, but that's all right. We don't need to look at that just now. So, click over to the players section. Oh, no, there we go. There's my team. Yeah, so I guess one of the cool things if you've got the Super Coach Plus is it gives you, all the most common trades. So I thought we could have a look at those and just, I guess, have a quick opinion on those. So you can see the most popular one there, traded in Adam Dewey, out Cam Munster. That absolutely makes sense. Obviously, Munster's going to be out for a few weeks with the busted digit. And Adam Dewey, I guess he did quite well. You'll see the first four there are all around the 5'8 position. So Adam Dewey for Matt Burton is the second most popular, and I guess that makes sense too when you think about the 5'8 position. So I guess we can talk about Kalen Ponga in there as well. So him to Munster, him to from Burton, I mean, and Munster to Ponga. So I guess if you weigh the three up, Dewey, Burton, Ponga. Obviously, Matt Burton was a bit flat on the weekend, so that's the reason why he's in the traded out column. Um, Kalen Ponga did quite well for the Knights. I think two try assists from memory. And Adam Dewey, obviously, he's involved in a lot that goes on at the West Tigers. So, um, yeah, I guess the reason why Adam Dewey would be more popular as a trade-in option, probably because he kicks goals. So, Kalen Ponga hasn't got that. I'm pretty sure Jackson Hastings would be kicking goals there at the Knights. I don't remember from the weekend, to be honest. I should do my research. But yeah, so, I think that sort of accurately reflects that, if you have to get rid of Munster or, you sort of think you have to get rid of Burton, um, Adam Dewey is probably the first choice. But if you want something a bit different, Kalen Ponga probably offers a bit of value also. The fifth trade, so a lot of people panicking to get in Harry Grant. Can see they're going to remove Brandon Smith to make that happen. So probably wouldn't have thought this was the best idea of a trade. Obviously, Brandon Smith was affected by HIA and also Victor Radley's injury, which meant he sort of had to slide into that lock forward position. Um, yeah, I think the way the Roosters are set up, they rely a lot on Victor Radley to play big minutes in the middle for the rest of the team to sort of work around it. Um, but if assuming everything goes well, then Brandon Smith would be, still a good option. So I try and find another way to get Harry Grant. Um, even if you've got someone like Tanner Boyd, that might be a feasible option to if you can find the money to go up to him. Because obviously you need a bit of money to go from Smith up to Grant anyway. So yeah, so I guess a few people chasing points here with number six. So Kant Pereira out, Ozako in. So obviously, the Dolphins are definitely going to be a lot better in attack than we anticipated. They got the points against the Roosters. But I think, Zarko's only going to be on the end of those tries if the ball goes that way. So probably wouldn't have had him so high on the list. And Khan Pereira, he doesn't have that base. You are relying on him to score tries. But I guess the preseason talk about the Dragons, he has a chance this week. So there might be a few people regretting that trade in round three. The next one's pretty interesting. So Tommy Talia to the Hammer, and I actually like this one. Again, you could say, well, the Dolphins attack, might have been extra good against the Roosters up for the big first game. But just on the eyeball test, the Hammer looked good. He was really involved in everything and, lots of runs. And obviously, he got that first try. So he's one I had originally talked about bringing into my team. But I guess when we do the trade, you'll see that might not quite happen this week. Unless I talk myself into it in the next 10 minutes or so. So, um, number 8, so Jermaine Hopgood to Cam Munster. So a few people missed the Hopgood train, obviously using the dual position of Schuster to make that happen. So that's all right. Same sort of deal with Josh King. Again, another fair call. I don't know if he'll play 80 minutes every week. Um, and then obviously, he won't put on a try assist and line break assist every week, but yeah, he'll score some solid points. So if that's the way you want to go, then so be it. And then Zarko to the Hayes parent. So, I guess, Khan Pereira, he offers a bit more value. Hayes Parham, it's sort of a sideways move, and I probably mean that quite literally. I think Parham looked really good. Obviously, the Bulldogs' attack was past, but there was no errors like he sort of had in the trials. So that'll get his confidence back up and about. And when the attack starts clicking, I actually think he'll go all right. So he's one I'm happy to sit off for a couple of weeks. But if it looks like the Dogs' fortunes are going to turn around, then he might be someone I actually try to bring in as a sort of sideways step up type of deal. So they're, I guess, the individual trades. You can also see the most traded out and in. So I guess we go traded out first. So Munster's an obvious one, injured, a few weeks, a lot of money sitting on the bench, and some good value there at 5.8. Matt Burton, um, I think it's one of those things. If you believe he's a season long keeper, it might be worth a hold. Yeah, at the moment, I'd lean towards trading him just because I think there is a better option. And I guess, once his price dips and perhaps the other price rises, you could flip back. You wouldn't want to do that. It's really a luxury trade to sort of make the two trades there and back. But I guess also as well, if you do trade Matt Burton out, you've got to be comfortable with not getting him back in, which I think is sort of what swayed me in my decision um, there. So Brandon Smith at 3, I think this is a bit of a panic trade, so I wouldn't endorse it. Um, Maybe if that's the only way to get the Harry Grant, then yeah, okay, fair enough. But I think, yeah, the Cheese has still got a lot to offer. Tommy Talau, yeah, again, it's probably not the most important trade out. Yeah, the Tigers will, improve, I think, throughout the year. And, especially, if Adam Dewey can get him some ball. Although I'm not sure if he's on that edge. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure he was on the right edge there with him, but I only remember highlights of the game, I suppose. So, yeah, I mean, if you've got an option there to bring in someone like a Taruva or something like that, maybe CNK at that sort. Excuse me. No edits play on. CNK or the Hammer perhaps. Yeah, I'd say that's fair enough. Luke Garner, so yeah, between I guess getting hooked after 50 minutes or whatever, plus the coach's comment after the game about the intensity at Penrith. Yeah, I think there's definitely better options at the price point, so I'd get rid of Luke Garner. Khan Pereira, again, like I said, he's bottom dollar, and he just needs to score tries. And being a winger, he's always a chance of that. So, and it was his first game too, so he might even sort of be a bit of a slow burn until he hits those spike games. So I wouldn't trade him. I think if he's the only problem you've got, you're doing pretty well. Sean Bloor, yeah, a bit iffy around the concussion that ruled him out. Johnny Bateman's sitting there, so I mean, if you picked him to start with, it was under the idea that he wasn't going to last that long anyway. So I'd probably hold. But again, if it's a switch that frees up something else, then yeah, that's okay, I suppose. Yeah, Corey Allen, so he's a bit like my Loomy Loomy pick, a bit ill advised. Obviously, wasn't going to be there long term with Joey Manu going to slot back in that spot. So, yeah, definitely sideways him to someone like even to a Khan Pereira or up to Taruva, that sort of deal. Hayes Perham, well, yeah, I just talked about him before. Obviously, I think he's an okay hold. Um, yeah, I mean, if you want to chase some quick cash to go to someone like a Hammer or even maybe Ozako, okay, but again, if that's your biggest problem, you're doing all right. And Josh Adokar, I guess, He's sort of in the Matt Burton boat. Um, yeah, I probably wouldn't have him anyway, just because he just doesn't get the tackle busts from his runs, being a smaller, faster sort of winger. Um, but yeah, he'll go on a run through the season, and people will get on and get off, and yeah, that's just who he is. So I guess in terms of traded in, so Zarko the most popular. That's a surprise. I would say that's fairly overrated. Like he does kick goals for the Dolphins and he scored a couple of tries, so there is that little bump in cash. So I guess again, if that's the only sort of thing you've got, looking to grab that bit of extra cash, um, then yeah, okay, but I wouldn't do it personally. Yeah, Adam Dewey, I can totally understand, especially with a couple of 5/8s under performing or not able to perform in the near future. So yeah, that's fair enough. Adam Dewey, Jermaine Hopgood, absolutely. If you didn't get him, you're fixing your mistake. I know all about that. Trust me. Kalen Ponga, yep. So again, I'd probably go Dewey first. Um, and yeah, so if you prefer Ponga, I guess the dual flexibility might be nice too. I don't know who he swings with 5/8 fullback to be honest, because most people have Turbo and then Teddy or Latrell sort of setup. Um, yeah, could be useful that dual position, especially with buys and whatnot. The hammer, yeah, I do like I said, I like what I saw on the weekend, and he will be in the team before the first lot of price rises. But as you see, in a few minutes, it might not be this week. Josh King, we talked about, so solid option. You know, might be a solid sort of cut price keeper type option. I think if you're using him to get cash, you might be a little bit disappointed with how that works out for you. Number 7, Lachlan Ilias is an interesting one. So sounds like he had a ripper of a game on Saturday night, and I guess another pre-season, another sort of 12 months in the system. Yeah, so he's another one that I'm interested in, particularly if he goes off this week against the Panthers, which based on their shaky couple of weeks, could be on the cards. So probably more of a wait and see, but I can understand people getting him in for whatever reason at this point. Jackson Ford, so I guess along with Hammer, the sort of other one I would have loved having in the team. Um, and yeah, I sort of guess if you're trying to replace one of those lower um, end second rowers, like maybe I forgot who it was, Luke Garner, something like that. Yeah, really good option. And obviously, with that's assuming you can't go up. If you're sort of trading someone like a Sean Bloor to him, could be a little bit sideways. Um, yeah, I guess the reason why I didn't get on him was the Jazz Tavanga sort of impact when he comes back. Charles Nickel Clock said, "Yep, I absolutely rate it. He's obviously in my team, but yeah, if he wasn't, I'd be looking to get him in. He's just a busy fullback, and I guess that's what you wanted to see from the Hammer too. Is just being busy, and getting in amongst it, which he was. So yeah, they'll both be in the team sooner rather than later. And then number 10, Tohu Harris. So a real pod option, dual position, and I guess a bit cheaper than some of the other premium front row options. But playing 80 minutes seemed like almost exclusively in the middle. I didn't see if it was him or Barrett that moved onto the edge when Niokore, I think, went off. But if he's going to be out there all the time, he'll do the work and score the points. So, which I guess segues well into how the team's going to shape up this week. So, 53 grand in the bank sort of makes this work as well. But we're going to cut Nanai. So it was a bit of a punt. And I guess I didn't realise how bad his base was. I should have done some research, but these things happen. And I'm actually going to go for the option Where is he? Not there. There he is. It's right at the top. I walk straight past it. So Tohu. So Tohu Harris in. And I guess the reason for that is what it's going to allow me to do. Oops. No, I don't want to trade him. Oh, I've got to settle the team first. Okay. I'll do the shuffling in a minute. So yeah, here's the first sort of correction I want to make. And the other correction, so I think I talked about my corrections being, going the hammer and forward instead of Liero and Lumi Lumi. But I'm going to correct my premium. So the first one was obviously Nanite Tohu, and the other one is Burton out and Dwayne in. So as I sort of talking about those trades, I think Dewey's got the edge over Ponga because he also kicks the goals as well as, is the main man on the ball at the Tigers for all things attacking. And I guess because he's been out for a while, I forgot how attacking Tim Sheens is as a coach. So that sort of bodes well for Adam Dewey's future. Um, and also, like I said, I had to be comfortable with, if I'm making this trade, that I'm not potentially going to get Matt Burton back in the team. And while I think, the Bulldogs will improve and, he will be top five, sort of 5'8" by the end of the season, I'm comfortable having, someone else like Dewey, and it's probably going to be Munster by the end of the season. So I guess as as the man crush, it's a bit hard to part with Burton, but SuperCoach is all about the points. And playing the Storm this week, he was going to have another quiet one. So originally I was going to wait till next week to do the trade, but he's not going to score the points, whereas Dewey's up against the Knights, so could be a few points on offer there. The Knights' defence isn't exactly airtight, so I thought I'll bite the bullet now and make the trade. Not going to boost this week because I guess it'd be trying to get the hammer in, and I don't have anyone that I want to trade, so it's going to take 2 trades to get in. But I guess that'll be the plan next week, is looking at how to make that happen to get the hammer in. So uh, so we'll make the trades, and then we'll sort of talk about the lineup and the future plan. So I guess what I was trying to do was flick Tohu up into the front row, mostly so we can have this sweet setup of Tarpany and Tohu in the front row. Obviously, there's that flexibility with Kepi, but he's on the bye, so Hopgood's going to jump into the starting lineup, and then I'll have to remove the reserve, put it on the arrow. Then from there, the other change we need to make is Tommy Turbo's on bye, so we're going to go with Matt Dury. So I guess it's a toss-up between him and Stefano for the last bench spot, and Parramatta playing on the edge, there's a little bit more chance of an attacking upside, but given my history of decisions, Stefano will probably outscore him. So I guess the team as it lines up this week, we'll just do a couple little trades if we need to. So we might actually, we might leave this way around. Normally you'd flick the Cheese and Harry Grant around because Brandon Smith plays first, but Harry Grant might actually be involved in the captaincy conversation. Obviously, Tarpany and Harris in the front row, that's fine. Right, so then out of these guys, the Gold Coast play late, so might put Dury in there. Obviously, Cam Murray, VC shout anyway, so when do the Storm play? They're pretty late too, so we'll have that. Obviously, the 2 halfbacks and Cleary playing on Thursday night. Dewey, sweet. Katoa, happy to have him on the bench. Centre wing, I'm going to swap these 2 around. So obviously, I've just talked about the fact that didn't think Matt Burton was going to do a bit against the Storm. So probably fair to say that Alamotti's not going to do much greater. like I said, he'll come good once the attack comes good, but against the Storm in Melbourne, probably not this week. So Will Warbrick will get him in. Um, every chance of getting over for a try. Hopefully not as a Bulldogs fan, but I guess hedging my bets a little bit there. The other three are all good. And then obviously with Turbo out, Teddy is the sole option there. So then in terms of five vice captain, captain, um, I guess I've been pretty tempted to stick with what I had last week. So Cleary VC, Tedesco C. Um, I guess sort of a bit of a couple of revenge tales there. And particularly the Roosters playing the afternoon game, 2 p.m. So it'll be a fast track there at Allianz. Teddy loves it there. So really sort of keen to captain him. And I guess, it's a bit of a sticking when others would twist if they had him as captain last week. I know because there was a few of us thinking he'd load up against the Dolphins. So yeah, I guess the other option is Harry Grant against the Dogs. So yeah, I guess maybe it's the heart saying don't do it. But no, like I said, I think it's more the Teddy might be the more pot option, and happy to roll the dice on that. So then I guess the VC is between Cleary and Cam Murray playing that first game. Um, and yeah, I guess for upside, I might keep it on Cleary. Just, hopefully if Penrith, sort of really respond to the criticism from the first round and the talk that maybe the dynasty's over, hopefully they come out fired up and have a big one. And obviously, if they do, Cleary will be all around it. Um, yeah, so, Murray's always a good chance of getting a try and whatnot and tunning up. But, I guess VC really is about chasing that ceiling, and Cleary has the higher ceiling. So, yeah, I guess, and if we then want a loophole, you've got options with, well, you could even do Turbo in. Teddy would obviously then be a reserve, or yeah, Loomy might be a little bit sketchy. I don't know if he's on the extended bench, but you got Kepi as well. So the great thing about having these buys through the year is that they instantly become loophole captain options. So it'd be I'd maybe just do Kepi to Matt Dury on the bench, and then it doesn't really impact the rest of the squad. Um, yeah, so it'll be something like that if Cleary goes off and we pull the loophole. So that's the Supercoach team and how it's going to look going into this weekend. I'll just quickly go through the fantasy trades as well. I did talk about one of these in the video I think it came out on Monday. So, yeah, I think going forward, actually, the plan will be Monday will be the reaction round reviews. So, Supercoach, NRL Fantasy. Um, and then probably Tuesday and Wednesday will be or Tuesday or Wednesday will be when we have the Bulldog project. Probably Wednesday is a bit of a nicer time. Probably the Tuesday will end up being a bit of the Supercoach AFL stuff as well that I've been experimenting with, and the sports deck as well. Perhaps we'll tack on there. And then Thursday, I sort of like this, trade discussion and how my team's shaping up as well. So I might try to get that in too. Yeah, so just I guess if you're looking for some consistent content, that's the goal. Whether it is consistent or not, who knows? That's why it's the Nuff channel. It's not the best channel by any stretch, but it can help us out in an absolute crisis. Anyway, as I was saying, the trades for this week. So the first one, because of the extra bit of cash I've um, got Boots Ikamano out, and I brought in Lockie Ilias. So I did say I liked Ilias, and he's one I'm looking at in Supercoach, but with the way NRL fantasy works with the price rises every week, um, as well as there is extras for kick meters and stuff, and it looks like Ilias is taking on a bit more of that responsibility. Really wanted to get him in before his price takes off, so he was the first one. And then the second one, because of the injury to Cam Munster, is I'm going to go Khan Pereira out and bring in Tyron Wishart. So obviously not a long-term prospect, but playing the six for the Storm, I think he's definitely going to have more base than Khan Pereira. Um, and obviously the attacking upside stuff isn't as highly rewarded in SuperCoach, NRL Fantasy. So, um, yeah, I think for that reason, it could be a little cheeky move to get him in. So the teams. So from here, we'll move Ilias up quite a few notches. Oops. A couple more. So probably just plug him in underneath here. I guess, first sort of choice replacement for the halves. Could actually probably get him on the start team because I think, yeah, they play real early. Titans play real late. Makes sense. Then Wishart is actually going to swap with Talau. So, and then Talau is going to swap with Alamotti. So just a way to get Alamotti off the field there for a bit till the Bulldogs sort themselves out. I need to move Kepi up here. And so, yeah, so Trindle will be in the hot seat, and obviously if he pops off, that's fine. If not, we should be able to move Bloor into the position. So I'll just put him there. All right, and if need be, he slots into Kepi's spot. If not, we get Trindle's points against the Eels. So I can put Alamotti down at the bottom. That's not a good indictment on the Bulldogs at the moment. But Storm and Melbourne, probably not going to get a lot. A few tackles, maybe. A few runs. That's it. Hopefully no errors. Yeah, so that's, I guess, the NRL fantasy side as well. So I think that just about covers everything we wanted to discuss today. Just go with the SuperCoach team there one more time because why not? But yeah, obviously, if you have any thoughts on the makeup of the team, feel free to comment, even though it might be a bit too late for me to make changes. Like the video if you're enjoying this and the rest of the content on the page. Also, subscribe to the channel. Pretty stoked with the few I've got already, but you can never have enough subscribers. And other than that, thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.